I've been having nothing but interruptions. Cars driving, people operating little machines. And I'm using an iPhone. This is the front view. I'm looking at the camera now, right there. I'm going to show you some of the modifications on my Jeep to save money. Redneckifications, I like to call them. So here we go. The reason I'm using an iPhone is because it's a wider shot than my camera. Here's one of the modifications. These are 3/8 steel, 5 bars, 4 inches long, which will equal out to 40 inches, or 3 feet 4 inches. Drilled holes through each one of them. They're a little bit dusty. This isn't a good idea to begin with, and also another bad idea is the fact that I'm using grade 5 bolts. If you're going to do this, use grade 8 bolts. Usually the bronze colored ones. There's another mod over there. I also like using this camera because you can touch the screen where you want it to focus, and it will. See that? This is the transmission mount for the automatic transmission. As you can see, I cut it a little bit here so I can put these 3/8 steel bar. Forgot to mention that in the video. You need another 8 inches. You need another 6 inches of this bar. It's the same thing, 2 holes. And these are 1/2 inch steel, round steel, I guess. Welded it to the bottom of the mount, reinforce it a little bit because all the weight is on the front and there's no weight over here where it should be. So it's not a good idea to do that, but if you want to save a ton of money, that's what I did. Use the same mounting bolts. Oh, got my drive shaft back today. Guy shortened it 2.5 inches. Instead of 3, I wanted it 2.5. You know, in case I get a bigger lift. And they painted it black for me. They also put some new straps on and a new rubber. So that cost $176. What's another mod over here? This is the transfer case mount. Drive shaft's in the way, kind of. Here's the whole transfer case linkage spiel. And that little bar that I was talking about is right there. Goes into the bracket right here. But since the transmission's 3 inches shorter, that hole right where I'm pointing at has to be moved 3 inches closer. So that's what this piece of metal here is for. And I drilled a hole through it, well, that old piece on there, you know, because it has a bushing sort of thing in there, and works great. There's the slave cylinder running up in front of the firewall there. Also, another thing no one mentions in the write-ups is you most likely have to take this exhaust off, which is hot because I'm just driving. And there's a gasket right there when you separate it, which is really easy. Impact comes right off. Doesn't matter how rusty it is. But replace that gasket because I have a leak now. So I never replaced the gasket. So should probably do that. This drive shaft here, I should get zip ties for that rubber. But it's off a V8 Grand Cherokee with a 231 transfer case, I think. It ended up being 36 inches and it works out perfect. Just see autofocus. So it worked out great. There's a couple sensors that aren't plugged in. There's one of them. I'm not sure if that is maybe a cooling or temperature sensor, I just got it dangling. Another sensor which you can't see at the moment. It's stuck up in there. It's 8-prong, 1/2 inch. Here's for my neutral safety switch. This is another modification I did. This is shrink tubing. See how it looks much better? This is for the neutral safety switch. One of these wires, I'm not sure which one, so you can't really see where they come from. One comes from the neutral safety switch and goes to the cab, to the toggle switch. And the other wire, if you follow it, I put it behind this heat shielding and grounded it right there on that screw. Bolt fit through there nice, just a little dinky one, 1/4 inch Just grounded, simple ground. Grinded it with a die grinder, make sure it's clean. Works great. And there's my dust cover. The only flaw to this is that it's not covered on the bottom. You've got about 1/8 of an inch of an opening there. You know, right here. That's no big deal. You're never gonna get any mud directly up in there. Here it is again. I mismeasured, so this is open too. Just make sure not to mismeasure for that. But it goes behind this plate about a 1/2 inch, and you know, it bolts up like any other regular dust cover. And to inspect the flywheel, you undo this bolt, and there should be a bolt over here, but again I mismeasured. And the reason this other part of the dust cover, there's 2 parts, the reason it doesn't line up is because it's from the automatic bell housing, and you know, everything else lines up with the starter and all. But since the standard has a slave cylinder, didn't account for that. It still covers all the holes except for right here. So no big deal. You just have to extend your homemade dust cover a little bit more. But to take it off, you undo this bolt, that bolt, and I believe there's no bolt up there. There might be, I'm not sure, I forget. And then this comes off and you can inspect the flywheel and the starter teeth and all that. So I think that's all the mods I did. Oh, there's one more. You see 2 pens there, 2 permanent markers. That goes to the transmission cooler. I just blocked it off, shoved 2 pens in there, the permanent markers, sorry. Clamped them off and nothing leaks. So it's all good. And that's about it for the mods. Another thing I did, because I got confused before I go, is this exhaust bracket mount, or support I guess. It kind of goes like that and plugs into this rubber mount bushing here, and I thought it was going to be 3 inches too short, but I remember this transmission mount, it all lines up anyways, so don't cut that off like I did. But it doesn't really matter anyway, the exhaust doesn't move anywhere.
There's no gap in my camera.
It only goes about like 1/8 of an inch. I mean, you don't even have to worry about that. So until further news, I shall talk to you later.